On June 13th, the Environmental Protection Agency announced a new plan requiring refiners to mix more biofuels into gasoline and diesel starting next year. The big change, they're shifting from measuring in gallons to using RINs, a credit system. I'm Johanna Bota, and here to walk us through what it all means is StoneX's Chief Commodities Economist, Arlan Suderman. Great to have you, Arlan. Can you walk us through the details of the EPA's proposal?
Yeah, we've been waiting on this for about 6 months to give some clarity to the industry what the blending mandates are going to be for the various biofuels, particularly for the biomass diesel. Now, that current blending mandate is at 3.35 billion gallons per year, and as you said, they've translated that into how many RINs, renewable identification numbers, instead of gallons, and there's several reasons for that. And for 2026 fiscal year, which starts October 1st, that goes up to 7.12 billion RINs for the year. Now, what does that translate into? Well, it depends on how much foreign feedstock goes in versus domestic feedstock. Foreign feedstock is treated differently, only garnering half the RIN value it did before. And so overall, we're looking at, if that continues, to be the case, that formula, that mix continues to be the case, we're probably looking at about 5.61 billion gallons. That's a substantial increase in demand for feedstock to produce that level. If, on the other hand, we see, because foreign feedstock is penalized, the fuel industry really go after the domestic, because it's about a 17-cent disadvantage per gallon now to use foreign feedstock versus domestic feedstock. We could see the biofuel industry bid up for all the domestic feedstock, and the food industry go for imported feedstock. And if it's 100% domestic, it'd be 4.61 billion gallons, which is, again, a substantial increase. It's going to be somewhere in between, probably higher than lower in the middle of that. But bottom line is, it's a substantial jump in demand for feedstocks, and the soy oil market is showing that. The canola market had already priced it in, and soy oil prices are now helping to elevate soybeans as a result.
So then, Arlan, what's the main objective of this proposal?
Well, the main objective is to support the biofuel industry, and we have felt all along that the Trump administration wanted to support the industry, the agricultural industry in particular, during the tariff war, and one way they could do that is biofuels. And we've heard President Trump make statements from time to time to farm groups, get ready to produce for the domestic market. Well, the primary domestic market that he can have an influence on is the biofuels. This is just one piece of the equation. We still have to see a ruling from the EPA on small refinery exemptions. How large will those be? All the applications that have been submitted, not handled yet from this past year and the years past, going back to 2016, equal 18 billion gallons, which is 10% total of the whole biofuel program. So it could be significant, but overall, we're expecting a net positive out of this. And then, of course, the third part is the funding mechanism, the 45Z funding mechanism, which is currently in the tax bill before Congress.
Okay, so this would be nearly 8% higher than in 2025, but it still falls very short of what some oil companies and biofuel producers were hoping for, right?
Well, overall, when you look at the ethanol portion of it, it remained pretty flat. The biomass diesel portion, if in fact it's at 5.61 billion gallons, is well above what was expected. If it's 4.6 billion gallons, primarily domestic, then it falls short of it. So I think it's going to be somewhere in between. But overall, when you look at what the market has done since the announcement was made, how soy oil prices have made new highs, soybeans are trading near this year's calendar highs as well. I would say that the market initially disappointed, but then recognizing this is still a strong, reasonable number, that they have good support from the Trump administration for biofuel demand, and I think is reacting very positively to it.
Arlan, thank you as always for your insight, and thank you for watching. For more financial content like this, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.